Joining with us. Thanks for being part of our Success and Money Foundation. We're a nonprofit educational foundation. Our goal is to help you and your family and friends to have a better life. And we want to talk a little bit about different streams of income and different ways to make money because there's multiple ways to do it. And one of the things I want you to do is I want you to find something that you're passionate about, something you can do, something you can be a maniac at, that you can go out and be successful doing. And one of those things is multi-level marketing. Multi-level marketing probably gets kind of a bad rap um, because people do it dumb. They don't do it the right way. And let me tell you how and what happened to us. So many of you know that when I was 34 years of age, my middle daughter, just had her birthday yesterday. She just turned 34 years of age, and I was sitting there having lunch with her, and looked over and go, gosh, she was 34. She's turned 34 today. And I realized that's how old I was when I had this heart attack. And I've got one artery in my heart that's got a hard left turn to it. And I had a heart attack. And it was amazing. It was a warm afternoon. I was over at a neighbor's house, a friend of ours. I was at our in-laws' home. And I was over at a friend's house that lived in the same city. And I got really started getting uncomfortable, started getting hot, I started sweating. I jumped in the car and drove home, which was probably a mistake. I walked in the house and looked at my wife, and she could see I was having problems. I couldn't breathe. My whole left hand side of my body was going numb. It felt like somebody was sitting on my chest. I called for my father-in-law. He came in, says, we need to take you to the emergency ward. And I go, I don't want to go there. Let's just go to Instacare. Walked into Instacare. They took one look at me. They called the emergency ambulance. They came, picked me up, and drove me up to the hospital. They took us into the in emergency room, and the doctor walked in. Doctor after doctor. They started taking blood tests and everything else. And the doctor says, "Do you smoke? Do you drink? Do you do drugs?" No, I don't do any of those things. Okay. And then another guy would come in and ask the same questions time after time, and then they got me stable. And then a doctor came in the next morning and said, congratulations, Mr. Painter, you've had a microcardial infarction. I said, what's that? And he goes, you've had a heart attack. And I go, I'm 34. I'm too young to have a heart attack. And he goes, well, you did. And we're going to take you into surgery and see if we can open up that artery. And I can still see it in my mind's eye. I was on this gurney, and they were taking me down the hallway into the room to do the procedure. And I looked over my right shoulder, just turned my head to see my wife sitting there. She was probably freaking out inside, wondering what's going on. And I wondered if I was coming back. Honestly, I didn't know if I was going to make it through it or not. And it scared me a lot. And I was lucky. 1/3 of the people who have a heart attack die. They're just gone. That's the first sign and only sign that they got, was that they had a heart attack. And they're just gone. Some of them just go in minutes, just boom, gone. And I was lucky. I don't know why I was lucky. I don't know why I was left there on this earth, but part of that was probably to make such a difference, to create the foundation and to raise these special needs kids. That's the only thing. That's why I think I was there. And I made a vow right there to take better care of myself. I had worked really hard, building some big companies. I was very young when I did it. I was in my 20s. I made my first multiple millions of dollars in my 20s. I had 250 employees, and I took a company from 7 million to 35 million. And it was great. And then outside forces, we didn't have any debt. We were just cranking. And I simplified, multiplied. But then the USA went to war in the Gulf, and it just killed our business. Outside forces, nothing. I had nothing to do with the outside forces; just came and killed it. And over a 90-day period, it just created all kinds of problems in our company. After 90 days, I got it back stabilized. But after that, the next 9 months was not much fun. We weren't really making money. Partners were having in fighting with each other, and I'm this kid in my 20s, late 20s, trying to keep this all together. And I earned that heart attack, I guess. I worked hard for that. Don't do that. Let's be a little bit smarter about how we do. But something came of that. And after I had that, I was home, and a friend of ours came over and said, it was a friend of ours, and said, I think you probably need to work on your nutritional products. I agreed with that. And he says, do you have a blender? And I go, I do. He says, good, let me make you a shake. And it was the first time I'd really been exposed to nutrition. Um, Now I wasn't bad. I didn't smoke, drink, or any of that other stuff, but I worked pretty hard, but I probably didn't take care of myself like I should have. And she gave me a shake and says, this will help you. And it did, and got me onto nutritional products. And I was on nutritional products for quite a while before I found out that was actually a business. And multi-level marketing or network marketing or even affiliate marketing have a lot of things in common. But the big difference between those is that you got to spend a lot of time and energy. Either you got to have cash to come into a deal. As I look at all the investing and all the businesses and everything that I've done, you've either got to figure out how to do some marketing or how to be able to do a lot of sweat equity, which is yourself doing a lot of work, or you got to come in with cash or a combination of those things. And I says, well, I asked her a little bit more. And I said, well, it was network marketing. It was really the first time that I'd been exposed to it in an official way. And it says very simple. You're a friend of mine. I've been on these products. Her daughter had passed away of cystic fibrosis. Her husband had left for my secretary, actually. And she was in a world of hurt. And so she started working in multi-level marketing. Her name was Colette, wonderful gal, still a great friend of mine to this day. And she started telling friends about it and marketing it. Now, there's a big difference. Multi-level marketing you can do very, very well, but remember, it's a very different business than you're planting seeds, you're growing little trees, and it takes a long time before those trees grow. And then they take those seeds, those apple seeds, and then they take those seeds and they go plant more trees. So it takes a long time to do it. That's one way to do it. Or you can go the other direction. Say, I'm just going to go buy it. I'm going to go buy the orchard. So let's do a little bit of doodling here with what we're talking about with multi-level marketer, MLM, or direct marketing, direct sales. That's one of the ways you can do it as an affiliate. Those are all different ways that are very similar. But the biggest difference in all those things is, let's come down here. The biggest difference in all those things is, what does it take to do it? It's either time or money. You've either got to spend a lot of time or a lot of money. An MLM is designed to plant seeds. You're planting seeds, you're growing trees, you're taking the seeds from those trees and you're growing an orchard. Okay, you're growing an orchard. Now, the nice thing about that is that you can start with a very small amount of money, small dollars. Okay, you can start with a small amount of money. The negative to that is you're starting with seeds. You got to grow trees, and then you got to take those trees and you got to take the fruit of those trees and you got to build an orchard. You got to build this massive team. So either you got to spend a lot of time or you got to be able to put money into it. Okay. So there's two ways to do it. You can do it that way, or you can buy a team or buy it. Okay. Now this is bigger than multi-level marketing, but it's like business. In business, you can either build it or buy it. You can either build it or buy it. And many times I'm going to recommend that you look at buying it, because it's already an orchard. It's got all these trees already there. And that farmer is probably tired of picking the fruit and dealing with it and everything else. And you can buy it, and it should make enough money to pay for itself. That's the ideal. When we do a lot of real estate, the goal is to have the business pay for itself, to make a profit. So the problem with multi-level marketing is you got to spend a ton of time and effort Now, the big deal is, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to create a stream of money, or are you trying to create a chunk of cash? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to create a stream or a chunk? Well, MLM is designed to create a stream of income. But the problem is, as you build this stream, it's really small. And then as you enroll more people, that stream gets a little bit bigger, it gets a little bit bigger, gets a little bit bigger. But when you get started, it's just tiny. It's tiny and it's hard to do and it's no fun because you're not feeling the results of it. You're building a pipeline, you're digging a ditch, you're trying to figure out how to create this stream of income. But eventually you get more of these streams coming in together, and then it turns into a river. So the goal is to take it from a stream to a river. Now, to do that, you have to have a couple things. You got to have a big belief. You need to understand about rejection. And it's not personal. Some people will say yes, some people will say no. We don't care which one ever it is. We just want you to flip the coin. If I told you that you had to get 50 heads on a coin, you're going to flip that coin 50 times. Well, you're going to fail half the time. You're going to fail half the time. Do I care if you fail? No. All I care is how many times you flip it. You need to go flip that thing 100 times. And then most likely you'll get your 50% of those. So when I got started with multi-level marketing, I got started because I had a health issue. And so I got on the products. Products made me feel better. I had more energy because after the heart attack, I just didn't have the energy. I went through 2 years of hell. I had nothing to do and all day to do it. And it was probably the worst time of my life. I don't recommend it. Okay, I don't recommend it. You got to take care of yourself. Don't do it, guys. Just figure out how to not do it, but get on some good products. And the reality about multi-level marketing is all companies have good products. There's usually not products that are not, they're all within 10% of each other. Let me say that. And they're all looking for their angle that, this was picked from this tree that's in Tahiti or whatever it is. And all of that can be true, I guess. But the vast majority of companies are all the same. They're all within 10% of each other. And they all really start with what's the product? And they want to create a great product because they want to get you hooked on it and stay on it. And so the product isn't really the issue. The product is you, and can you build a team, and can you enroll a lot of people? Now, when I got started on it, I asked a few friends about it, got failure. Some say yes, some say no, but so what? We don't care if they say yes or no. What we care about is, did I give them the opportunity to do it? And did I have a good presentation to talk to them about it? So some people come in for the product and they really love the product and they love the product and that's all they talk about. They gush about the product. And that's great. And you can help a lot of people with the product, but guess what? You're never going to make any money. Do you want a business? If you want a business, you got to treat it like a business. And the key to treating it like a business is to figure out how to make money with it. Why are you doing this? If you're doing this to make money, you have to treat it like a business. If you treat it like a hobby, it will pay like a hobby. That's it right there, guys. That's in a nutshell. If you want it to be a business, you got to treat it like a business. If you want it to be a hobby, treat it like a hobby. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's 4 or 5 different ways that you can win with multi-level marketing. Now, I'm not saying that this would be for you, but after I had that heart attack, my wife and I needed to create streams of income in addition to my chunks of change. And so we got very busy with our real estate, which really is creating chunks of cash. And this streams of income came later. If you flip a property, you can make some quick cash. If you build long-term rentals, then the positive cash flow is helpful. But the real profit was real estate, is to have it go up in value and being able to sell it and getting a chunk of cash. It's not truly great for streams of income. Streams of income in stock really is if you put it into bonds, they pay you a small interest rate on it, but you got to have a chunk of cash there. You got to have a pretty good sized chunk and you got to get a pretty good sized rate of return on it. So streams of income are hard to create, but once you create them, once you get the streams coming, it turns into a river, and then that river just doesn't stop. If you've built it correctly and you've built it deep and with a lot of people. So I got involved with it. I started inducing it, talking to family and friends, and they weren't really interested in the nutritional products and stuff like that. They didn't have a life-changing experience like I did. And as a result, they just weren't that interested. So I failed at it. And then a friend got me back involved and I failed at it a second time. And then the original gal that got me started, she was doing really well. And I said, what are you doing? Teach me what you're doing. Because whatever the other guys were doing didn't work. It didn't work for me. And I got really ticked off. I got really mad because she was doing really well. Her streams were turning into rivers. And I said, I'm going to go make this work. And if I don't make it work, I'm never talking to you again. Because the challenge, I failed twice miserably. And I started the third time and I figured something out that was really important to me because I wanted to build a business. I wanted to build streams of income. And so the goal for me was to create streams. And the reason for that was for my special needs kids. So what I was trying to do is I was trying to create assets, chunks, which was real estate and so forth. And then I wanted to create some streams. And the best streams was multi-level marketing because it could really create them. And my question to you is, if you had a choice, if you had to either pick creating a chunk of change or streams of income, what would you pick? Well, what if you could pick both? So real estate does that. And multi-level marketing is mostly for streams because it really doesn't have the other one. So I treat it as a business. Now, if you're going to treat it as a business, act like a business. And so the key for me was everybody has good products. Everybody has pretty good products. They're all pretty much the same. And honestly, I don't think you want to start in a company that's just getting started because the failure rate is pretty high. You actually want to be in a company that's been around for a while, that's figured it out and got their systems down. And everybody says, well, you get on the ground floor. Well, the ground floor is closer to the basement and underwater than one that's up and running. So don't worry about this stuff. Well, you got to get on the ground floor. The key is what you've got to do is you've got to figure out how to enroll a lot of people. That's just the brunt of it. And they lied to you. People say, well, you know what, just join and I'll do all the work for you. Just join and get on the products and I'll do all the work for you. That's wrong. That's not going to work. What you got to do is you got to find like-minded people that want to build a team. You got people who want to be on the product. Great. Get on the product. We love you for being on the product. But the second one is you got to build a team. Now, everybody has good products. So what's the difference? The difference is, how do you get paid? How do you make money with multi-level marketing? And I've made millions and millions and millions of dollars in multi-level marketing. But all that money goes to my special needs kids. It doesn't go to me. I set that up and gave that to my special needs kids so we could fund their long-term and have revenue to take care of these special needs kids. And I worked at it for quite a few years. And then I just stopped because my interest turned to a lot more real estate and business and everything else. I love building stuff that I don't know anything about. And then I like to go build something else. And the key for me was the compensation plan. And the biggest part I want you to be looking at, the biggest thing I want you to look at when you do this is how much, what percentage do they pay out in compensation? So if they do $100 in sales, what percentage of that goes out in compensation? Now, I don't care. They're going to use all these whiz bang things. If you do this, if you do that, if you do something else, but from a corporate position, how much do they pay out? Now, some of them are very cheap, like 30%. So when you look at their books and they say, well, for every $100 we bring in, we're paying out $30 in compensation, or they could be the 40% or even up to 50%. And I'll give you my example on here. Companies that are paying out that much, there's not enough money for the company to survive. And so I don't think I'd find one, even though it's better. These aren't paying enough. That's your sweet spot right there, 40 to 43%. Those companies have enough money to pay for their product pay for their overhead, build the systems so that that it's going to survive. So how much are they paying out as a corporation? And again, they're going to do all these whiz bang things about how much money you can make here, there, or something else. I don't care about that. From a corporation point of view, for every $100 they do in sales, what percentage are they paying out? And that's your sweet spot. That's too much. That's not enough. And that's where you're looking at. Number two thing that you've got to do is that you've got to enroll people. And I failed a couple of times. And then my friend Robert Allen knew that I was trying to create streams of income for my special needs kids. He gave me an audio tape about this guy, and this guy had put a bag on his head and said, if you're going to be successful in multi-level marketing, you need to enroll 100 people. You got to enroll 100 people. Now, that was opposite what everybody else says. Hey, you don't have to do anything. Just enroll 2 people and magically this thing is going to work. That's crap. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. If you want to, now there's 5 ways to win. Number 1, if all you did was get on the product, that's probably a win. Okay. And I've been on those products for decades now. If you built a little team and you made enough money to pay for the product, that's a win. If you get a little bit more aggressive and you can get a stream of income, that's great. That's a third way to win. Number 4, you get a little more aggressive with it and it starts paying your car payment, your house payment, whatever that is. And number 5 is it makes a lot of money and it makes streams of income that you can quit your job and live off that income. So there's 5 ways to win, but most people are stuck down here in these top couple 3 because they don't do one thing. They don't enroll 100 people. And I said to myself, you know what? Most likely those 100 people I enroll are going to not be very good. So I got to go figure out how to enroll 200 people. I was very motivated. My why was big. Why am I doing this? Am I doing it to help these special needs children of mine? And so I went to work on it. And the biggest thing that I learned was the compensation plan. How do people make money? And this is the compensation plan. And the key is to show them literally how to do it. So I would ask people 3 questions. Number 1, do you want to create an extra stream of income? You want extra income? Okay, I'm looking for a yes on that. Are you okay to build a small business? Yes. Do you have $500 to $1,000 to get started? Now, this is what it costs here in America. Do you have that much to get started? And I needed to get a yes out of each of those. And if I didn't get a yes, I wouldn't go any further. Well, I don't really want to build a business. Are you willing to talk to people and work? No, I don't have this much money. Do you have a credit card? Do you have a credit card or a debit card? And I needed a yes on all those. And if I got a yes, I said, all right, good. So get out a piece of paper. And I'd literally go through and teach them the compensation plan and show them what they needed to do. But I would say, get out a piece of paper. We're going to do this together. And I would literally draw out the compensation plan. This is the compensation plan of the group that I was involved in. I'd say, all right, at the very top of the page, I want you to draw a circle the size of a quarter and then draw 2 circles down below it. And this is part of your team. And then I would literally take out the team and show them how to do it. And every time that we did something, we would add the money to it. So if you did this and this, you would make this. And then if you did this, you'd make another this, and, put $100 right there, put $100 right here. But the key was they did it. They did it. They did it as I was talking, and they literally drew it out themselves. And then at the very end of the presentation, I said, okay, now when we got started, I asked you a couple of questions. Number 1, did you want to create extra streams of income? Is that still a yes? Yes. Okay, good. You said that you want to be part of our team, right? Yes. Okay, good. And I told them how much it was. It was going to be, $500 or whatever it is that you were doing it with. And you said you had a credit card. Okay, good. Do you have in America, we use a Visa or MasterCard. And the close was, you said would you like to be part of our team? Yes. Do you want to build an extra stream of income? Yes. Okay, good. Let's get started. Do you have a Visa or MasterCard? And then you don't say another word. Do you have a Visa or MasterCard? And I just wait. Okay, you just wait. Do you have a Visa or MasterCard? And guess what? A percentage of them are going to say, I got a Visa or I got a debit card. And a percentage of those will pull out their credit card, and you take that credit card and you sign them up. And then you go help them to be successful. Stuff I've learned that I'm teaching in the foundation is stuff I've learned through decades of doing these other businesses. And you have to be more obsessed with helping your students be successful than you are. The only way you get what you want out of life is help other people get what they want out of life. And that's how you do it. And so I'd ask to have Visa or MasterCard, and I'd just be quiet, smile. And they would reach into their pocket and pull out their credit card, and we'd sign them up. Now, about a third of those would do it. About one third of them would do it. Some would, some wouldn't. One third of them would do it. So my success rate was 1 out of 3. When I got started, it was 1 out of 9 because I wasn't very good at it. And you know what? You just got to practice. You just got to practice. And again, I know that 1 out of 9 is going to do it. And I eventually got it down to about 1 out of 3 because if they didn't want to do these things, if they didn't want these things, then I knew that they probably weren't going to do that. Okay. And then I taught them how to do it. And that's how we did it. Now, what I did was that I signed up 256 people. And my team signed up over 2,000 people. And we've made millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars in network marketing. But that money hasn't come to me. That money's gone into my special needs kids accounts. And it's gone into their own stock accounts. And guess what? We put it into Berkshire Hathaway. And guess what? It's making more money. So why did I do it? What was my why? It was for my kids, my special needs kids. I have 2 kids that are special needs adults now. And I'm 30 years older. If I'm lucky enough to have a normal lifespan, those kids are going to be on this earth for 30 years after I'm dead and gone, maybe 40 after I'm gone. How do I take care of them? Is the government going to take care of them? Crap, no. The government can't even take care of themselves. So that's why I had to create what I created. I had a big why. If you have a big enough why, you'll figure out a how. And if you have a big enough why and you go do it, don't sit around the campfire. Don't, talk smack with your friends, whatever it is. You got to go do it. And I want you to fail fast. We need 50 heads on coins. We need 50 of them. You need to go flip that coin 100 times. And if you suck at it, you might have to do it 200 times. I don't care what it is. Whatever it is, I got to get that. And my goal was to get 100 people enrolled. And I said, my people are not going to be very good. So I'm going to get 200 people. And I literally probably did that presentation 1,000 times. 1,000 times to get my 256 people. That's 1 out of 4. Now, was it worth millions of dollars? Yeah. That's how much money we made. Now, that money's not mine. That money's gone into my special needs kids accounts. And guess what? That goes into investment account. Oh, number 4, automatically invest. So here's ours. Number 1, make more money with your job or your small business. Okay. And then number 4 was, we put it right down into number 4 is to automatically invest. We did not spend it. Okay. We've given some of it away. We did some charity work with it. But for number 5, we didn't spend it. It all went down here, and all of it, 100% of it over the last decades have gone into here. And guess what? Money's going in every week. Every week, money goes into there. And guess what? We've invested it, and it's going up in value. So that's what we've done. Money goes in every week. We invested in like Berkshire Hathaway or SPY. Goes up in value because we're doing the wealth formula. What's the wealth formula? Put money in every week. Put money in every week. Times have it go up in value. Times time equals wealth. And that equals generational wealth because that money keeps coming in. And then there's a big asset right here, and it makes more money. Okay. That's the system, guys. Now, the real key is, why did it work? Well, I had a why. I had a huge why. How am I going to do this? And I needed to create chunks of cash and streams of income for these 2 special needs kids. Because the government's not going to take care of them. The government can't take care of themselves. And I had to do that. And so that's what we've done. Okay. And those kids have special needs trusts. That money's available for them. They don't control it. Somebody else can, it went to the other kids that control it for the special needs kids. That's how you do it, guys. If you have a big enough why, you'll figure out a how. And then I want you to fail fast. And if you really want to build it with multi-level marketing, you can do it. But the key is that you've got to treat it like a business. If you want to pay like a business, you got to treat it like a business, and don't listen to the hype. And you just got to look at the math. That's our system right there, guys. That's how you make money with multi-level marketing or affiliate marketing or stuff like that. Learn from it. It takes time to build it. You're building streams of income versus just buying the business. There's other people that have a business that's got to start. You could buy and then run it from there. But that's how you make it all work. But you got to spend a lot of time and a lot of rejection. And there's nothing wrong with that because it's made a lot of money. You make money 5 different ways. But if you want to make a lot of money, you've got to do things that other people aren't willing to do. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be right back with our next section.